Welcome to Cybercast. I'm your host, Nikki Henderson. We are live from the HIMSS conference in Orlando, Florida, talking to industry leaders about pressing issues and developments in health IT. As the cybersecurity and privacy field continue to grow in the healthcare space, so does the need to better protect patient data. Cyber attacks are increasing at an alarming rate, and the cyber workforce shortage has become a major challenge for many organizations, and government is not immune. Biases can significantly narrow your candidate pool. Some leaders at Penn Medicine believe hiring managers should focus more on the bias within their recruitment systems and recognize that diversity will bring a greater sum of skills. Jessica Chen, Senior Application Manager of Clinical Research Information Security at Penn Medicine, said it's vital for medical organizations to create a team that looks different and thinks different to protect against ever-changing threats. Seth, Fogie, Director of Information Security at Penn Medicine, said the workforce plays a key role in security. People across an organization are on the front lines and should be aware of the risks and their role in the entire process. Chen and Fogie are speaking with me today about ransomware, Penn's approach to cybersecurity issues, and the importance of investing in a diverse workforce.
So my name is Jessica Chen. I'm a Senior Application Manager, and the applications I manage are clinical research IT applications. And so I'm responsible for the clinical research technology at Penn Medicine.
I'm Seth Fogie, and my role is Director of Information Security for Penn Medicine. As part of that, I am a hiring manager, mainly for the engineering side of the program, but in previous roles, it's been for the information operations security team as well, which handles incident response and vulnerability management, things like that. Whereas the engineering side is kind of more focused on the selection, implementation, and ongoing care of the tools and the systems that we use to protect Penn Medicine.
Great. Very interesting. I want to start off by giving this question to both of you. What are some of the biggest challenges right now in the cybersecurity space?
Ransomware and the ongoing nation state level of attacks and the vulnerabilities and that are being discovered and the pace at which it's increasing and the threats that come along with that, I would say is probably just a very fast or short summary of what is keeping the cybersecurity folks awake at night, because it's just the pace is increasing and the technical complexity of these attacks are increasing, and it's hitting environments and systems that cannot simply just be quickly remediated. In some cases, there is no remediation. And I could go on for a bit, but if we just even take the Log4j, that's a more recent vulnerability that was exposed. That was put out there, and there wasn't a remediation in place or available for a lot of the systems. There were workarounds, but even understanding the scope of the impact of that vulnerability still isn't fully understood. And that was a good 2 months ago. So that's just one example, and we're seeing that occur more and more often, where these really serious critical vulnerabilities that can cause a major impact and then be used by the malicious actors out there to send in ransomware it's increasing at a fast pace, and it's harder to keep up with all the issues associated to it.
Okay, and Jessica, would you like to add anything to that?
Absolutely. So I had a feeling that Seth would definitely mention kind of the ransomware attacks, which is absolutely, I think, one of the biggest areas. I also see that one of it's hands in hand, I would say, is definitely the resourcing and education that need to go along with that. So part of the issue with a lot of these vulnerabilities is that organizations don't have the staff to support 100%, 365 days, 24/7, constant monitoring of every potential means of access to our systems, whether they be through a person or through a system. And then on top of that, the education that kind of goes hand in hand with that for both the individuals that are responsible for the security, but also the broader operational needs are kind of related, I would say. I wouldn't say that they're more or less, but sort of hand in hand with creating these vulnerabilities that are at the forefront of all of our knowledge and thoughts right now.
How does the potential cyber workforce shortage fall into that?
I think Jessica summed it up a little bit there. Yeah, she's dead on when she's talking about the shortage of skilled workforce members that can detect and then just even triage these issues that are occurring. So, I've been fortunate to be part of cybersecurity since before it was cybersecurity, and there's kind of an evolution of how people used to develop their cybersecurity skills, and now how people are developing their cybersecurity skills. And in the legacy days, I would say that a lot of the cybersecurity people came from infrastructure teams and technical geeky teams. But as we all realize, that there aren't enough people to continue to try and feed the cybersecurity workforce from those technical teams, which is why we're seeing kind of a shortage, but also a focus from the educational institutes on trying to develop cybersecurity folks. You got boot camps now, and you've got full education pathings up through internships and into the workforce. So we're at a point now where unfortunately the work coming in is outpacing the number of people that are even being grown through the security program pathings that have existed and now exist.
And how do each of you feel that bias is actually impacting the candidate pool?
Yeah, so I think that there's, of course, when you talk about bias, there's individual biases, and we all have our biases. And I could go on and on about the types of training and education that folks should participate in. But we all have our own biases around, an affinity for individuals or types of individuals, and that can introduce negative, sort of narrowing your candidate pool. But the other area that I think that folks need to start to focus on is the bias within your entire recruitment system. So of course, I think most hiring managers, if I give folks the benefit of the doubt, I think are trying to address these biases within their own interviewing techniques or their own recruitment and retention techniques. That being said, though, there are still biases within the system that are, again, narrowing that candidate pool. So you can imagine if we already have a shortfall from a workforce perspective, if you have 1,000 openings and we only have, say, 50 qualified candidates, if you start to narrow that funnel in increasingly without really considering those biases, you could then start to have no potential quote unquote qualified candidates. And then that shortfall becomes even greater because you've actually eliminated candidates before they've even entered your recruitment funnel.
So everything Jessica talks about is relevant. And one of the, I guess, as I have been a hiring manager for, say, 10 years in some form or function, probably, and coming from a technical background, it's, having conversations like this is helpful for me because it brings to light that these biases exist. And like Jessica said, we all have them, and they're easy to miss if you're not consciously putting them out in front of you and trying to be aware that there's probably a normal flow that you're just going to naturally kind of go to, and that normal flow may not be, and probably isn't, one that's inclusive and diverse of all any kind of varying different characteristics of a person. So that's why one of the reasons I wanted to jump in on this conversation is because this helps just stimulate those kinds of thoughts and brings it to the top of mind, which is probably one of the most important things for people who are hiring managers in the security field to just keep in mind as they're opening new positions up, to recognize that even from, we can take one aspect of it from a diversity perspective, a diverse team is going to be and come and provide a, a, a greater sum of skills than a team that's going to be just all one type of personality. So, again, it's they're just recognizing it, number one, and then acting on that, number two.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. What are some of the ways Penn is approaching cybersecurity issues?
By issues, I'm going to, I guess, start from there's two ways to look at that. Again, it's the staffing and bringing in and making sure that we have the right workforce to handle the load. But even from a program level, it's there's also the recognizing the threats that are, and they're technical threats, and there's also workforce threats, and there's the maturity of the program that we have to continue to grow in order to meet what's going on out there in the rest of the world, and being able to be nimble enough to quickly react. But when it comes to the workforce, some of the things we are doing, diversity is part of the conversation when we do look for new employees and backfills and that kind of thing. And then even within the program, we're trying to build a program that is interesting, that is adaptable, like this work from home thing. That came out of nowhere 2 years ago, but we've adjusted to that and been able to work with our teams to accommodate that kind of paradigm shift of where work has to occur. And even within the team, though, we offer some unique team building events. We call it a pen test exercise, unintended, where we offer up the kind of the traditionally more fun side of security, where you get to go hack something as a team, and you kind of learn the skills, learn the tools, and continue to grow that particular aspect of the workforce to make sure that you're ready for the things that are coming at you from the outside world.
Okay. And Jessica, would you like to say something about this?
I think that Penn Medicine has recognized that there needs to be an investment into our workforce, and really it's the people that make a difference at our organization, and cybersecurity is no exception in that way. And so as an organization, we are investing in our people, ensuring that they have the skills and the support that they need, they have the ability to work as needed, which all can help to really expand and open up different opportunities, both within our organization, but also as we look for opportunity for individuals outside our organization as we continue to grow and expand. And as an organization, we are just continuing to invest in some of the examples that Seth mentioned, just specifically within our own department. But in general, it's an area of significant focus for our organization is really investment into our employees and our workforce.
And after hearing Jessica talk about a couple of things here, there are a few other things that we do try to focus on. Doesn't always work out, but we like to look for internal candidates to promote and to bring into the program. We've done that several times, whether it's an internship that gets transitioned into a full-time employee, or whether it's a member of the PC tech team or the service desk that can come into the program. We look for the passion, because passion for security is it's critical, because you need that in this field. It's a very dynamic field that requires quite an investment of time and motivation when it comes to the learning required to keep up. But you can build on passion. And once you have that passion, you continue to build. And we also look for internally, like Jessica said, the training aspect. We've baked that training opportunity into the program, and make sure that our team is aware that it's available, and that we provide what is, in the security world, it's SANS training. It's kind of considered one of the best kind of trainings out there. It's very technical. It's not, actually, I shouldn't say it's just technical. It covers all the bases, but it's very thorough training. And we recognize also when people get certifications, that is we encourage that in the program, and we make sure that people are recognized and rewarded for it.
Great. I do want to know, how do each of you think that modern cyber threats impact your decisions and the types of technologies or network access methods that you employ?
Oh, that's an interesting one because it often takes time to react to what is going on out in the world and to adjust the program to meet that. And a lot of this, there's like again, there's a technical aspect, but then there's the cybersecurity and skill set aspect and the processes that kind of bring the two together. So the technology, you're going to have the vendors and the solutions that are probably going to be available, but we have to plan for that. We have to make sure that we can be agile enough to implement a new technology solution as the threats require. But there's a workforce size that needs to be able to understand what that threat is and have the freedom to do the research or the understanding and interact with their peers and even within the team to digest the information, to take apart whatever the threat is and to break it down into what makes it dangerous, and then be able to have to use the tools we have, maybe add a new process or procedure or add some kind of enhancement, or even create some kind of create a tool ourselves that could address some of that. So it really depends on the threat, but it covers the whole people, process, technology. The solution's found somewhere in there, and usually in all three.
Jessica, would you like to respond to this question?
Absolutely. So, I think that to build on what Seth said, I come from the application side, so really supporting our front end users, and it's definitely I think changed the way folks are thinking about the technology in our industry, because my teams tend to focus on kind of supporting academic medicine and supporting research, and so we often have to utilize new technologies, and we're expanding, and we're definitely working in areas that never existed even 5, 10, 15 years ago. But that doesn't mean that we can forget about the risks that come with it. In fact, as we continue to grow and change in this industry, of course, as you mentioned, these are modern cybersecurity threats. I think it has forced a lot of consideration of saying, how much are we willing to balance the importance of collaboration and increased access and transparency at the same time, while still needing to protect our information. So looking at what's the right technology is not always just a matter of what's the easiest to use or what is the flashiest technology. As Seth said, sometimes it's looking at what we have already and what are some opportunities to address workflows and support, but still maintaining that level of security. So I think that it's become an interesting aspect as we consider on the front end, both from our technology side, but also from our operational perspective as to what the direction we want to move in when it comes to searching for new opportunities.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, before we conclude, I just want to ask, Seth, is there anything more you would like to say about what Penn is doing regarding hacking and ransomware threats, or just any final comments in general?
Well, we can, we're focused on security. We have a program that we like to say is world class, where we recognize that the world is a shifting landscape, and we continue to try and keep up with what's going on out there. Bringing it back to the workforce, though, I think Jessica hit it on the head by saying that it's the people that really are the most important part. And it's not just the people in the security program, it's the people across the organization that are really the front line of the security program, and making sure that they're aware of their part in that, and the threats and the risks that are out there that are being targeted at them. So, I mean, we all know that phishing attacks occur. We all know that there's any number of ways for somebody to get the attention of somebody who's inside the organization. And the sooner that those things are reported and understood, the quicker we can respond and the safer the organization can be. So I know our organization takes it seriously, and we've got from the board all the way down attention on security, and it is top of mind. And I'm thankful that Penn treats it that way.
Great. Jessica, is there anything else you would like to add as far as the recruiting aspect of this, or just any final thoughts you may have?
Yeah, so I think these threats are obviously not going away, and they're going to continue to. This is a new world we work in, and I think that what is important is for organizations, and Penn Medicine is definitely putting a lot of focus on this, is how are you supporting and creating the best team to protect and support your organization. And that comes, I want to highlight, as Seth said, is creating a diverse team. If you have a team that looks all one way or thinks all the same way, you're not going to be prepared for the ever-changing industry and the ever-changing threats that are continuing to develop. And so it's important for organizations to continue to focus on how can they recruit and retain as diverse and inclusive candidate pool and workforce as possible. And I can definitely say that our organization is focusing on that, because as we've both, I think, said, is the employees are really at the core of our organization.
Well, Jessica and Seth, this was a really good conversation about a very important topic. So I just want to thank both of you again for taking out time to speak with me today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Cybercast, along with GovCast and HealthCast, is a production of GovCIO Media and Research. For more podcasts and to check out the other shows, head to govciomedia.com. Watch out for new episodes released every Tuesday and Wednesday across our shows. You can follow all of them in your favorite podcast platform, and if you like what you heard, make sure to let us know by leaving a review. And if you have any topics you think we should look into, contact us at newsletter@gcio.com.